late, please join us. Okay, I consider it as a start of the introductory session. I am supposed to brief you on something, which obviously the ASEAN and Russia and their relations in the turbulent times. So in this briefing, I suggest that we divide our time into two parts. So I tell you something, and then please, if you have any questions or comments, you are welcome to do that. I hope I will double check with our co-organizers. We still have 1 hour. Can someone send me a yes or no, please? And if we still have this 1 hour, then let's start. Yeah, 1 hour. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is me, Dr. Ekaterina. I have a Thai name, Kanyarat. It looks more comfortable for you, meaning precious woman. I don't know how precious I am, but still, let's go on. We have participants of very different background. That's why I will take the liberty to say something about ASEAN, its achievements of regional integration and challenges to the ongoing process of regional integration. During the opening session, we already touched upon some debatable issues. I think it's the sign of the moment because that's a turning point not only for ASEAN but also for the world. But it's always good to contemplate where we are and where should we go from now. Then internal mechanics and external outreach for ASEAN, meaning and ASEAN-Russia strategic partnership in times of national turbulence. So where do we cooperate? To give some food for your further thought in the group work. And finally, the very final point of this presentation will be about this dialogue organization. I know that you should have received the program already, but still I will explain the logic which stands behind it. So, ASEAN today, achievements of and challenges to regional integration. We all know that right at this moment, the 47th ASEAN summit and related summits are taking place. And I took this nice picture from the internet, and you may observe very different participants on this picture, not only ASEAN heads of states, and this is very telling because one of our dialogue sessions will be speaking about BRICS plus, SCO plus, Eurasian Economic Union, and you can find some BRICS leaders on this picture. But let's get a step back and remind ourselves that ASEAN was established in 1967. By the way, in the description of our first discussion panel, there is a very curious typo made by me myself. I was pinpointing at the year 2047 as the year of next anniversary of ASEAN. Of course, I meant 2027, but it appeared just because I wish ASEAN a very long life, up to at least up to the mid of the century. But still, this is a very old organization, and to stay institutionally alive, and ASEAN, I'm happy to tell all of you that ASEAN is still institutionally very much alive, is a challenge itself. Why? Because we observed multiple regional blocs which came into being. Proposed some kind of ideas for regional integration, and then we can just constatate that they are stagnating. Like, for example, SAARC, South Asia Association of Regional Countries, or some blocks in Middle East. For ASEAN, it's not like that. At 1967, the year when ASEAN was established, stands from now for almost 60 years. So 2 more years and ASEAN will turn 60. Quite an age. even for a human being. If we speak about organization, it's indeed very long. Then I like this picture also because exactly in its center stands Talat Common, the one of the ex-foreign ministers of Thailand, and this is a reminder that Thailand was one of the founding countries of ASEAN. Paying bills, then ASEAN was established, can be found in the Bangkok Declaration. For those who didn't have a look at it, you may always do that on the ASEAN website. And given that the organization was founded during the bipolar period, when the anti-communist feelings were very strong in the founding states, and the real idea was to join hands in facing the socialists, or so to be neighbors in Indochina. But the official goals were very wisely formulated, and they stand as important goals up to now: to stimulate economic growth in the region, to contribute to regional peace and stability, to spur agricultural and industrial development for regional cooperation, to reduce obstacles for the international trade in the region, and enhance cooperation in the economic, social, cultural, technical, science, and public governance sphere. Indeed, looks very relevant even up to date. Stages of development. Not so long ago, I singled out in my presentations just three. One ranging from 1967 up to 1976, which ended up with bringing in political cooperation, because in 1976, ASEAN member states concluded the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, a very important treaty to stipulate the cornerstones of regional integration. And TAC stands as a framework for not only for ASEAN countries to deal with each other, but also for external partners to agree upon if they wish to be dialogue partners of ASEAN. Before 1976, the process was rather informal, and due to this informality, maybe this was a successful endeavor because political elites could communicate very directly one to each other, and then the political framework followed up. The second period, ranging from late 1970s up to 1990s, from Cambodian crisis to the end of bipolarity. This is the time when, as many observers state, ASEAN acquired its regional capability, because through the very painful Cambodian crisis, ASEAN came as an actor on its own, advocating regional decisions for regional problems. And then the 1990s, 2000s, that was my final point in many previous presentations, stating that ASEAN started to adapt itself to the post-bipolar period by focusing first on regional integration, moving towards free trade area, and second, by reaching out to its external partners and trying to position itself at the center of regional institutional processes. And that was a truly fantastic story. If it would have stopped at the third period, because I was always happy to tell how successfully ASEAN managed to integrate itself, to include all at that time 10 countries, and to establish dialogue partnerships with stronger countries, with the variety of dialogue partnerships, and to establish macro-regional frameworks to accumulate all the interested states in. But then something has changed, and something has changed in the world in general. And maybe that's a hypothesis. We are now moving to the post-Western world because the US is in a kind of decline, relative decline, not the full-scale decline. Of course, it will stay as one of the dominant powers, and it's trying to painfully adapt itself to the new realities as well. The European Union was mentioned. Of course, it's still a major economic bloc, but marred in many difficult processes. So we don't know what would come out of this transformation as well. And ASEAN has so far, in my personal opinion, mixed record, both of successes and challenges. It is yet to find the answer to. Some milestones for those who are not following ASEAN so closely: Bangkok Declaration 1967, then Zone of Peace and Neutrality, Freedom and Neutrality 1971. This is the year not just when one country but a region declared itself neutral. This is a very interesting, even legal phenomenon, I would say. Though how neutral ASEAN is, of course, is a point of debate. Then Treaty of Amity and Cooperation 1976, ASEAN Charter. ASEAN communities were proclaimed to be in action since 2015, and 2025 marks a reassessment of these communities and the adoption of follow-up vision and blueprints for the next period up to 2030 and 2045. So 15 years more for this period. ASEAN is planning its current documents. ASEAN expansion. I'm sure that some of you know these dates very well, so I will not be reminding them. Just we can constatate that with East Timor accession, the whole region geographically is finally within the ASEAN framework. And there is what I call functional expansion, meaning that there is a whole set of networking relations initiated by ASEAN with external partners. There are frameworks ASEAN +1, +3, +5, 6, and even institutional settings like East Asian Summit, IDMF Plus, Expanded Maritime Forum. I think these are all acronyms with which most of you are familiar with. So ASEAN today, the bright side of the story is that if we take ASEAN economies cumulatively, of course, we can feel happy that this is the number 5 economy in the world after such giants as the United States, China, Japan, and Germany. Then there is an aspiration, and this is quite well-grounded one, I must say, to become number 4 economy in the world by 2050. Hopefully, ASEAN cumulatively will achieve it. There is an aspiration to become one of the largest digital economies in the world, and ASEAN is pioneering a digital agreement, pan-regional digital agreement. No one in the world ever had such agreements before, so it's an interesting experience to follow and to learn from. The aspiration to become key industrial and critical material hub for the world, and I think that even second part of the sentence is now even more important because these are the materials which nurture our digitalization physically, and the coming up competition is for these critical materials. No one in the world unilaterally possesses the whole mass of them. There are certain important countries and regions which have some elements of these critical materials. How these countries and regions will play off in the industrial competition is an important question mark. And ASEAN is a part of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership concluded already during pandemic and already during the time when the world started to get divided over the means of the international trade. Protectionism was already on the rise, first due to anti-COVID measures. Just naturally countries started to focus on their own homes. Then Trump 1.0, Trump 2.0 brought in the whole set of turbulence in terms of rewriting the rules of the international trade as we were used to them before. But even amidst all these processes, ASEAN managed to organize its five, not six. India was stepping down from the process, but still managed to organize the conclusion of RCEP, and we can constatate that it still stands as the only free trade area of this kind in the world. Then there are three communities in action. Just to remind you, because if you followed some crisis processes within ASEAN, you might have forgot about it, that all these countries agreed to live peacefully in unison within three communities: political security, economic community, social cultural community. And again, just a reminder concerning the underlying logic of these communities: to secure peaceful regional development, political development based on common norms, and conflict prevention and peaceful resolution under the political security community, to develop the region into common market and common production base, to increase region's competitiveness in the global economy, to ensure conditions for equal economic development in the region, and to ensure region's integration into global economy. So these are the underlying themes for economic community. For socio-cultural community, sustainable development for the region, and we have one particular speaker in the next session to address the SDGs goals of ASEAN. People's well-being, social guarantees, and the idea of people-centered ASEAN. So everyone laments about people centrality, not only our ASEAN counterparts, but we in Russia also lament that we would love to see more people in the center. I think that's universal. How to make political processes people-centered. This is a huge enigma and very difficult task. ASEAN way. I will cast it in the basket of achievements because indeed, again, we may lament that it doesn't work as we would like it, as a magic stick taken out of the pocket in a necessary moment. But philosophically and strategically, I think this is a huge ASEAN asset. I mentioned here consultations and consensus, but of course, ASEAN way is much broader than just these 2 points, and much broader than the third point here, saying behavioral norms regulating relations between ASEAN member states and between ASEAN and its partners in settling various conflict situations. But that's just some important elements of ASEAN way, and if you wish, you can do your exploration to learn more about that. That's the way, philosophically, to deal with the internal diversity. And speaking about the European Union, which was mentioned before, in my mind, what ASEAN has and the European Union lacks is the ability to deal with this internal diversity. And the more we will be moving to the post-Western world, the more challenging it will be to accommodate different people, different countries, different civilizations within one Earth. But if your neighbor is different from you, or if your roommate is different from you, it doesn't mean that you should beat him right out on the start. It means that you must find some way, even painful one, to agree how to use one fridge in one room where you live and have to live through your student year. So that's a bit, habitual thing, but still, I think it can be extrapolated into international relations as well. Then internal mechanics and external outreach for ASEAN. We uh, all congratulate East Timor for joining ASEAN, and we congratulate ASEAN family to have East Timor in. But it means now that there is even more diversity to bring into unity within ASEAN than it used before. And before, the gap in the living standards was 40 times difference, say, between Singapore and Cambodia, if we speak about GDP per capita. And it still must be bridged. It still must be somehow brought into some common denominator if we speak about sustainability in the socioeconomic domain. Not speaking about political diversity, which was mentioned by His Excellency Kassis Saron this morning in the opening session. And these are, huge, this is a huge number of issues to be addressed to make ASEAN dynamics sustainable and moving forward. If we speak about external outreach, again, if I were to deliver this talk several years ago, I would not have all that geographical figures appearing to the right-hand side of this slide. I would just have this beautiful, marvelous picture with ASEAN at the center, and that would be all. But now, surprise, surprise, everyone has its own ideas how to organize something in this region. And these ideas, they might be compatible, or sometimes they might be challenging to the ASEAN centrality. Why we can take 2010 as a milestone? Because before, ASEAN had a true monopoly on the institutional cooperation in the region. Now everyone is saying that we respect ASEAN centrality, but we will do it our own way. We will, gather what? Somewhere on the sidelines of ASEAN meeting even. We would have our August, we would have squad, we would have some other, strange words in the picture. Or we will have Belt and Road Initiative. It will not undermine anything, but it will be changing the situation on the ground. So again, this is the complexity of the reality. We cannot just close our eyes and say, I don't see this, I see just beautiful picture. So together we should find the way how to deal with all these different visions, challenges, and still find the way to say that we believe that this is the right way to do things. So concerning ASEAN Russia strategic partnerships in terms of international turbulence, many areas of cooperation, of existing cooperation, were already mentioned. But when we will have group work discussion, of course, I ask you to look more into details and to see again the strong sides and still weak sides of some of these areas. Education, high-tech, energy, food security, military, technical cooperation, medicine, tourism, and we can add adjectives to each of these elements. But what I would like to say is that we have now multiple avenues of cooperation. Reach them in substance or in not so rich, that's another side of the story. But we have at least something happening within each of these circles on the picture. Points of convergence. Again, we can continue this list, but I tried to bring in my own understanding of this area. I think that we are quite similar in our worldview, despite our national and regional differences, because we all want to to remain ourselves in the international system. We don't want to be subjugated to any other center, so we would like to have our way through this international turbulence. We are quite close in our approaches to the desired organization of the international system, or to the desired world order, the world order which will accumulate, which will accord differences to coexist peacefully. We don't have negative historical memory legacies because Russia never colonized anyone in this region. And currently, well, it might be easier to forget the colonial history, but it's there. It's still there, and sometimes remembering it might be really painful, even if you want to forget. We have an emerging interest in doing business together. We have strong Russian solutions in the spheres of high-tech, medicine, green energy, space exploration, ICT. They might be in demand in your region. The more you will be moving towards self-sustained ASEAN. And we have socio-cultural compatibility. Once proper educational work is done, the addition and the brackets is there, because it might seem that we are different. But believe me, and I'm a student of Thai language, and I have been a student of Thai language for more than 27 years now. The more you learn about each other, the more similarities you find in our characters. And the same goes to almost all my partners and friends in all ASEAN member states. East Timor is still, is still to be explored, but I hope that we will go along nicely as well. Then challenges. Of course, we have very low level of mutual economic penetration. We still have to build a more sustainable economic linkages, and this will not happen overnight, tomorrow, or in the coming week. It really requires very systemic work. We have connectivity challenges, thanks not with pilot, because we have direct flights. But jokes aside, of course, logistics must be more intense for us to have more contacts, business matters settled together. There is sanctions and secondary sanction issues. One country in ASEAN joined to the sanctions. 9 out of 10 with East Timor did not. But still, of course, this is a limiting factor. It cannot stop things from going on, but it complicates things. And you know that, our ambassador mentioned that there is no other country which could have sustained the pressure, the external pressure Russia has been sustaining so far. Indeed, if you come to Moscow, and I hope that all of you will have the chance to travel one day, you will not see much differences in our daily life, and some will be surprised. But as I said, some wise people counted 22,000 something sanctions imposed on Russia, and some of my colleagues made it their profession. They daily trace which limitations we are having today, tomorrow, and the day after. Contemplate it. So when you will have a free time, contemplate how would have ASEAN survived having 22,000 sanctions imposed. Of course, I understand that it might be challenging, but at the same time, it spurs creativity at that level that you could never imagine how creative you would be if you have so many limits. Challenges to the ASEAN-centered institutions coming from competing regional projects. Again, Russia would love to have ASEAN as the only rule-setting player in the region. But we have to face a different reality, and we have to navigate this peacefully as much as we can. So finally, speaking about the way how we will move along this dialogue. We will start from ASEAN Community Vision Beyond 2025, and we will have several speakers to share their efforts on the way the region is going to develop over time. And Russian participants of these panels will try to figure out, so how can Russia fit in? What should Russia take note of this situation about ASEAN plans of development? Next, we will look at the external environment, and we will discuss the role, position, and aims of Russia and ASEAN in multilateral organizations. So ASEAN for me is actually the pioneering organization which designed this plus think, functional expansion, or well, outreach. And now other non-Western organizations are taking this experience for their own, building circles of partners, of observers, of interesting countries, which might not be in a position to join BRICS or ST right at the moment, but they want to know what is going on and to plan their foreign policy actions accordingly. Number 3 session will speak about ASEAN Russia economic cooperation, and I hope that we will have very substantive dialogue there showing what is still to be developed. And number 4 session will speak about interesting cases of our cultural and media encounters, what can be done for cultural diplomacy to to enhance the network of people to people contact. In each panel, we will have fantastic speakers agreed to share their thoughts and and to give you some hints for your group work. Alongside these talks, you will be divided, or you are already divided into 4 groups. And later today, you will have the first set of group work in the framework of SWOT analysis. So in each sphere, you're required to to single out strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of our configuration in a particular sphere. And tomorrow you are to, taking this SWOT analysis as a background, you are to design a project. It might be something small, like, launching a social media group or Telegram channel, or, I don't know, organizing an event, but something very practical, which can be implemented by your own efforts. And the final day will fit your project's presentation. So the best project will be somehow awarded by the Herchikov Foundation and the ASEAN sector, depending on what kind of project it will be. I hope that it will make you feel yourself the persons who can influence the process and the process of our cooperation. And I hope that it will give you some satisfaction from this participation, not just sitting and listening to some old stuff, but proposing your own creative super pooper ideas for our cooperation. I think that we will reserve the remaining 20 minutes for Q&As or queries, concerns, I don't know, outcries of trouble, how can we cooperate with the country under 22,000 sanctions imposed, but still, whatever you wish, that's the free time to make your point concerning the introductory session topic. Final slide with my contact, with my center's contact, and with the center's webpage, where you can find information about what we have been doing so far. Okay, thank you. Please raise your hand if you wish to ask a question. Present yourself and feel free to say something.
You have mentioned space cooperation as a perspective area for cooperation in Russia and ASEAN. So my question is, do we have any projects in this area already?
That's a good question, because this is an area where I think many efforts will be moving toward. As for the state of affairs, I think that it's better to ask our from Cosmos if they have anything. But I do know from very first-hand connections, even made recently, that there is a huge interest from our side, and I think it should be matched with the interest of the local, well, I don't know, industrial partners, so to say, to move forward with satellite launching for connection purposes, moving towards more faster and more high quality internet connections for business purposes, for I don't know, educational purposes, for any kind of communication. And this is the area to be watched after because there is a need in the region for, well, more satellites on orbit, and for Russia it's also a huge question mark and important task. So I think that private to private space cooperation will be coming in the next years quite.
Thank you.
Ekaterina, thank you very much for your presentation. It was indeed very meaningful and insightful. Among the challenges, you've mentioned the information gap that might hinder the development of cooperation between Russia and ASEAN. And also you highlighted that what we have in common is the cultural compatibility. And you also outlined that one of the fundamentals for developing the cultural compatibility and the mutual understanding is education. Could you please expand more about the educational aspects of the cooperation between Russia and ASEAN? Thank you so much.
Okay, there are three elements: information gap, cultural compatibility, and education in your question. You see, I continue to meet people in Southeast Asia who believe that Russia is a Soviet Union. I apologize for making this point in this room, but still there are people who believe that there are bears going along Moscow streets, and people are really surprised and they encounter fast working metro, subway area, or maybe the best in the world now, and then they see that people are speaking English, people can communicate, and the youth is as interested in K-pop as in Thailand, it may be. This is the information gap because then we started to work with the ASEAN Center with my colleagues 15 years ago. We witnessed that there is no direct reporting to the region, for example, from Russia, and there is very limited direct reporting from the region to Russia, and we're almost at the same level right now, even though there are more contacts, more tourist flows, etc. That cultural compatibility. Those who, for example, study Thailand for a quite long period, and I first learned this information from my teacher of Thai language, who devoted all her life to this studies, and she had a ready-made list of our ethno-psychological similarities, like making friends for whole life, keeping in touch for a very long period, and this is what is very much in common across the whole Southeast Asia. Not just business-oriented context, but relation-oriented context. And you cannot move along if you don't establish good personal connections. If you go beyond the question why Russians are not smiling, and this is the second prejudice which the second frequently found prejudice which I encountered among my Southeast Asian colleagues and friends. So if you beyond just that and discover that when Russians are truly happy and Russians are sincerely interested in you, they will be smiling. Then you will also discover that we can quite nicely work together. Finally, education. Education is important, to go beyond first impressions, because there are many Russians who adore going to Bali, to Pattaya, to Phuket, to Vietnam as tourist destinations, but they don't think out of the box. This is, to balance my other mocking observation that Southeast Asians believe that Russia is the Soviet Union and Russians are gloomy people, not smiley. Russians are believing that the whole Southeast Asia is like Pattaya. So how could you, move towards some meaningful cooperation if you have these stereotypes? They must be broken. They can be broken only through learning history, politics, complexity of the worldview of your partners, and for this we should have more educational content. You know that you yourself is a part of the international group, having more ASEAN students than Russian, but this is a mixed group. But this is just maybe standalone example. So the more contacts we will have, and currently I'm happy to say that due to sanctions, our universities as well as our bureaucracy are starting to discover Asia, and quite seriously. So when we will have ASEAN students as a common thing in our universities, and then ASEAN universities will have Russian students as a common thing, then I think that more and more linkages naturally will come out on the situation. Okay, please next question.
Hello to everyone. My name is Diana Nazarova. Thank you very much for your presentation. Well, I also have one question. I guess as we all know, one of the basics for successful economic integration for the organization is like the similar stage of economic development of the countries. And I guess we cannot say that for ASEAN it's a thing now, because we can see that ASEAN consists of countries of very, very different stage of economic development. And my question is, don't you think that it can be also a challenge in terms of ASEAN-Russia economic cooperation?
That's an interesting question. Of course, theory tells us indeed that, and even real life practice tells us that similar stages of economic development can be conducive for more effective economic integration. But judging from the reality, I think we cannot live and wait until all 11 member states will be in the similar situation. It will take centuries. So what should they do? Should they stop cooperating? Should they stop dreaming about regional integration? Of course not. And ASEAN has many interesting features which are uncommon, say, for the European Union's experience. What do I mean? For example, getting to the second part of your question, how Russia can work, is it an obstacle or a challenge? For example, there is no supranational law in ASEAN. There is no supranational body, but you still can. Starting to work, say in Singapore, you can still reach out to all other ASEAN member states, having a partner and a firm there. That's a kind of functional substitute to having common legal framework. The next thing, why? Well, it might be a shock, but it also might be a conducive thing to work with. ASEAN is a very competitive market, and there are many countries present on it. United States, Japan, South Korea, India. That's a common knowledge. And maybe Russia might not find its niche in the areas where these countries compete. But still, the existence of countries with low level of economic development may help us bring our decisions in the automobile sector. I had an interesting case of Kamas, for example. It's a car which can go along the with the roads where a normal car cannot go through. And this will meet tech decisions are very much in demand in the countries which still have to speed up their economic processes. And that's of course an area of consideration. For example, in the Lao PDR, I don't recall the exact numbers, but 30% something of children could not attend schools during the pandemic, but they could not have their schooling education brought through the means of internet connection. In Manila, in the capital of Manila, in the capital of the Philippines, you can have blackouts. That's the capital city, and we have decisions for energy solutions for such situations. Russia is a big country, and everywhere an emergency situation pops up in every single moment of the day and of the week. So that's another area which I think is in much demand in these countries. So just to make my thinking a bit more straightforward, the difference in the levels of economic development is creating some niches where our technological decisions, industrial decisions, might be very much important. And equally, ASEAN experience of creating functional analogs of integration might be also very interesting if you know about that, if you know how they're working with these economies. Okay, there was one more question or comment from there. And we have 5 minutes left.
Thank you, Mrs. Ekaterina Koldunova. Thank you so much for your presentation. So, to introduce myself, my name is Tai, and I'm a senior student majoring in international relations at Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. And my question for you is that how can we solve the weaknesses of the consensus mechanism of ASEAN? Because as you may know, as ASEAN relies on 100% consensus to pass a decision or solution, decisions often end up at the lowest common denominator and limiting effective responses to threats, challenges, including traditional and non-traditional challenges. And besides that, historical rivalries, economic asymmetries, and varying threat perceptions contribute to divergent national priorities. So my question for you basically is that how can we address and solve the weaknesses of the consensus mechanism? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that there are many voices lamenting about ASEAN consensus, and some say, let's get rid of the consensus. I'm of course not in the position to advise. And sometimes it seems that, most effective ways of decision making are better. But imagine the other side of the story, that you somehow undermine consensus. And every single member of ASEAN has some internal challenges, difficulties, etc. That's normal. You cannot live happily ever after a certain moment. All the time there will be certain problems which will be traumatic for the societies. And say at the moment Vietnam is okay, but there is a problem in another ASEAN member state. And you take a decision not based on the consensus. But next time, I don't wish it, of course, to Vietnam, but something happens at home in Vietnam. And another ASEAN member states get rid of the consensus at the expense of Vietnam. Getting to the point, I think that what ASEAN has started to do, applying ASEAN -X formula to the economic issues. might be a kind of way out. So single out the areas where it will not be so traumatic not to have consensus, but leave consensus for sensitive issues. Maybe that's a way out. But of course, I take no ambition to say that this is right and this is wrong. The historical situation may change very quickly, and then things which seems to be right will overnight seem to be completely wrong. So be wise, and for this I will say ASEAN is a very wise organization. You might be moving slowly, but you're staying together at the final level. Sorry if I'm a bit blurred in my answer, but I don't have a better one. Okay, we have 1 minute left. If there is a really urgent issue or comment, let's raise it. Can we have a mic, please?
I'm Vishal from Thailand. Retired, but still there. So I'm here today. Okay, Russia is a very big country, the biggest country in the world. How many have you been to Russia? Raise your hand. Oh, Asia. Okay, a few. I haven't been. I would like to one day. You know, there's this Trans-Siberian Railway, right? From Vladivostok to Moscow, or vice versa. How many have to travel on that railway? 1, 2, okay. Minority 3. Okay. So should it be more promoted? You know, because this is railway that cross 8 time zones. You know, there's no longer railway than this one. Almost 10,000 kilometers. Almost like from here flying to Europe. Okay, but you go on a railroad. It takes about maybe how many days? 21 days, something like that, right?
7 days.
Yeah, something like that, okay. So I would like to travel on that. And then the other one is, how many of you know Lake Baikal in Russia? Only a few. Have you been to Lake Baikal or you just read? How many have actually been there? Seen Lake Baikal? Okay. I have never been there, but I know all Lake Baikal because I'm a limnologist. Somebody who studies lakes. You know that's the deepest lake in the world? 1.5 kilometers deep. Okay? No other lakes is so deep. Even the Great Lakes in the US, only 200, 300 meters. Okay? This is 1.5 kilometers. You have to have a submarine to go down. Okay? So I would like to go to Lake Baikal. Okay, maybe next time we can think to invite me to Russia, to at least to these two interesting places.
Thank you very much. I took your, indirect expression of interest in visiting Russia. So on this note, let's conclude the sessions, and I don't want to stay between you and the lunch. I hope that you got at least some useful information on this talk, and you will be inspired to discuss ideas on your own. Thank you very much.